In the new version of PostureRay, I want to review the basic setup of the new ViewBox options. First thing you want to do is you want to go into System Setup. Underneath your clinic, go into User Management. You'll see some choices on the left side. If you want to use a new overlay of text, which is all subluxation levels, go ahead and click that. If you want this to also show initially with the lines, you can turn that on or off. Keeping it on will show the red and green lines for normal as soon as you go to that X-ray. If you like to have the X-rays without the lines at first, go ahead and click that. And I'll show that in a second. Export new text overlay, that's exporting everything the way that you want. If you want the JPEGs that you're saving out of PostureRay to have the new overlay system. For those that want to use the cervical morphology, once it's ready, you will see this option to turn on. It is in this new version of PostureRay. We're just waiting on CBP to approve the cervical morphology for general release. Once it's approved, we'll show you how to turn it on, and you'll get this. We have to control that on the server at this time. For that being said, let's go ahead and hit close. I have that turned on, and let's look at the view box. If we go to the view box, you're going to see a couple things. When we pull a person up, I'll just pull up this person's spine. I'm going to click on their name. You're going to see if you want to show the postures and the other views, those need to be clicked. And also, if there's views that you know are in PostureRay but they're not showing up, it's because if you go into views up here, these are all that will show if selected. Okay, and in the exam, you can search those. So sometimes you might have obliques in PostureRay just for notes, but you don't want to show them in a report of findings, so you would uncheck those. Okay, so in this case, I've selected some. I'm going to hit View. Now, of course, we can still draw on the X-ray just like normal, the posture examination. But what's cool about this is that if we look here, we now have the choice to do an overlay. If we click the results, we have the white text. Of course, we can change the text color. I feel that white in most instances looks the best. We're also numbering the X-ray, the vertebra on the X-ray. If for whatever reason we want to shut off the lines, we just click here. Now, remember that if going back to the view box option, it says show the lines. If you wanted to show a normal, just like this on a start, you would leave that unchecked in the settings. Okay, there's a couple of you that requested that, so that's why we turned that on. And of course, you would have to hit this every time. Okay, moving forward, I wanted to show a couple other things. This button here, the PL, stands for patient lines. Okay, impression lines, IL. Notice that we're doing the posterior tangents. Since we have cutoff values from research studies that show intersegmental motions beyond the AMA guides, which is the end plate analysis, we can have cutoff values with instability, and that's why there's red in here as well. If we click this again, we go to the end plates. This is the AMA guides, instability analysis of motor units above and below. Notice these values changed. Okay, I'm going to go back to normal. Now, one of the other things that we can do is we can go ahead and click the translational distances, toggle that back and forth. Okay, moving forward, same thing applies. If we want to go ahead and turn on those lines, we can turn on those lines, turn on the end plate lines, and of course we can do the overlays. On the APs, the overlay will be in the appropriate levels, so that way you can always see the values that you want anywhere on the films. If you have notes in the X-ray, they will show up as well. Okay, let me go ahead and forward to, and let me just show you that we can do the nasum analysis. I like having all of these values on the X-rays. Very, very helpful. Let me show you on say lateral lumbar. If I can put the values on here. If we go ahead and put on the impression lines, notice these are purple, and you're going to ask, well, why in the heck are they purple? It's because we don't have cutoff values for the intersegmental motion angulations that are in a research paper delineating instability. Now, of course, we do have a very good guess on what would be unstable using the posterior tangent method. However, we have the AMA guides method, which has been obviously published. So until we have something published on thoracic and lumbar, that's what you're going to see on that. So to avoid confusion, we didn't put red or green. Moving forward, I want to show you a scoliosis here. So on a scoliosis, the cool thing that we added, of course, we have the values. Okay. Now the other thing that we can do is, watch this. If I click this, notice it's going to overlay the Cobb lines with the Reiser-Ferguson so you can see exactly where it was digitized. And of course, we can always go back to normal. Okay. And that is the new update for the ViewBox. Hopefully you're going to like it as much as we had fun making this for you guys. I know it's going to be very, very helpful. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Oh, one last thing before I sign off. Lateral full spines. If I go into the ViewBox and show lateral full, how could I forget this? I mean, come on. Lateral full spines, right? If I do a lateral full spine, I don't know if this is, let me see if I have one in here for me. No, I don't. So let me go ahead and use another example here. Full spine. Okay, so I believe one of these, let me go ahead and just show this one. I want to see if this is a good example here. Notice we can change the axis and we can show continuous versus sectional. These are different SVA lines. If you don't know what that means, you probably don't want to show this. But basically it's a sagittal vertical axis line. So if I go ahead and hit view, notice one of the nice things that we've done, we've updated with as near normal as possible digital X-ray here. This is another a patient. Now watch this. They're fairly close to normal. I can toggle on the vertical axis line. Now if I want to change that to the different ones, I can go ahead and change those. That's pretty darn close there. And that's pretty close there. Okay, so this person, maybe not the best example of a lateral full spine vertical axis line, but they're different. And remember, the C7 is the centroid. Okay, you got to remember that. And there's some nuances here, and those are also in the new reports. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the vertical axis line. I'm going to switch back, turn that back on. Here we go. And the overlay will show everything, all segmental angles on that subject. Okay, now I can finish with this video tutorial. So any other questions, just feel free to reach out to us at info@PostureCo, that's postureco.com. All right, thanks guys, bye-bye.